The final full day of testimony in the Elon Musk OpenAI trial is happening today. Our Kate Rooney has details in today's Tech Check. Morning again, Kate.
Hey, Carl. Yep, the jury is going to be hearing from a couple more witnesses today from the defense team, and then closing arguments are going to kick off. It does cap off 3 weeks of Silicon Valley drama that we've heard in this Elon Musk versus OpenAI case. CEO Sam Altman did take the stand yesterday, and he had a lot to respond to after multiple witnesses testified really about his character and accused him of lying on the stand. So Altman's narrative when he took the stand centered on Elon Musk's attempts throughout the years to control OpenAI. He testified that Musk at times wanted a 90% stake in what started as a startup and a nonprofit, and merging with Tesla, according to Altman, came up multiple times. He also said that Musk thought the AI lab would fail. He put a 0% chance, I should say, of them succeeding. Musk then left the board and went off to start an AI effort within Tesla. And then, according to Altman, he abandoned OpenAI. Quote, "We were left for dead," as he put it. Says the lawsuit is now a jealous attempt to, quote, "try to beat us down while he is building a competitor over at xAI, which is now a part of SpaceX." Musk, the backdrop here, he is suing OpenAI and Sam Altman over that move away from a nonprofit structure as OpenAI started. He also accuses Altman of, quote, "stealing a charity." Cross-examination yesterday really was the highlight. It was extremely tense. Attorneys for Musk focused on Sam Altman's firing from the board and had him respond to those witnesses who said he had a pattern of lying. Altman, on the stand, denied that. His personal investments were also a big focus and came under fire. He has said in the past that he had no equity stake in OpenAI, but yesterday clarified that he does actually have exposure through a venture firm, a startup incubator, Y Combinator. The value of his stake, we found out, in companies doing business with OpenAI, that is around $2 billion. Names like Helion Energy, Reddit, among the companies he's invested in, also an investor in Cerebras. And apparently OpenAI considered a merger with that company that is going public this week. Speaking of, the jury, though, still expected to begin deliberations on Monday, and then that will kick off the remedies phase of this trial next week, guys. Back over to you.
And what will that look like? Just remind us, what is at stake here besides just, this juicy glimpse into their personalities and their finances? What actually could some of the end games here look like?
Sarah, so what Elon Musk is actually asking for, one of the remedies in this case would be Sam Altman actually being removed from his leadership position, as well as the president of that company, Greg Brockman. He's looking for more than $130 billion of remedies, which Musk said if that actually happens, he's going to donate that back to the charity, and then a restructuring of the actual structure of the company that changed in the fall. That could be unwound. So the stakes here for the company are extremely high, as well as for Sam Altman. There is the back and forth and the drama that's spilling out. But when you look at it in terms of what's at stake for OpenAI, it is massive. It could really affect their eventual IPO that we're hearing. It could kick off at the end of this year. There's, of course, an appeals process, and legal experts say the bar is extremely high. It's sort of an uphill battle for Musk's legal team, but a lot at stake here when you actually look at it.
I was going to say, this might be a dumb question, Kate, but are any people arguing that the uncertainty that's embedded in this trial is weighing on their ability to keep pace with Anthropic?
No, it's a great question, Carl. Not at all. I mean, the competition between Anthropic and OpenAI is just massive. Right now, Sam Altman on the stand yesterday, Elon Musk's lawyer kind of criticized him for not knowing everything that was in some of the witness testimony. It was sort of a funny moment in some ways. He said, actually, I'm quite busy with my day job, if you can believe it or not. I haven't been here every day of the trial. But it does speak to how distracting this trial could end up being for OpenAI, as they are trying to compete with Anthropic on the enterprise side. They are gearing up for an IPO roadshow. At the same time, Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, two of the biggest leaders, the most important people at that company, have to sit in court and listen to, what is really a time capsule of what's gone on at OpenAI over the past 5-10 years. It is very much a distraction. And I think regardless of the outcome, obviously the stakes are extremely high, but their team is going to be relieved to move past this in some way and try to move forward, because it is such a race right now in AI, and they're having to spend a ton of time in a courtroom. That may, at the end of the day, be Elon Musk's goal here in some ways. It is quite a distraction, and that's been OpenAI's argument, that they're trying to, that is the end goal for Musk, regardless of what happens here.
Though they're saying, and I asked this to Denise Dresser last week, or a few days ago, Sarah Fryer, we asked this, and the response is they're happy to have the opportunity to tell their side of the story here with Elon making the accusations.